Are you a federal employee about to retire and decline survivor benefits? Don't do this before watching this episode. Welcome to the Mason & Associates YouTube channel. I'm John Mason, certified financial planner and president at Mason & Associates. The topic today, survivor benefits under your FERS or CSRS pension. And really, this could be applicable to any pension that's out there, but we're going to stay to our niche and we're going to talk about federal and more specifically FERS survivor benefits as you get ready to retire. Now, I led in with this video that says, are you about to retire and decline survivor benefits? Don't do that before watching this episode. Folks, we know, you know that your federal employee pension sets you apart. Maybe you've watched Avoid the Common Financial Planning Mistakes Made by Federal Employees. We've recorded 2 of those episodes and there's more to come. But in that, we say, you are very, and if you haven't watched the video, you are very special. We also say they are not talking to, and that's to you. So you are very special and they aren't talking to you. And here's why. You're part of the minority. People don't have benefits like you do as a federal employee. Not only do they not have pensions, they certainly don't have pensions that are cost of living adjusted. And if you're a media financial planner or you're trying to sell a YouTube channel or a podcast or what have you, do you think you're going to spend your time talking to the majority of the population or the minority? Folks, the next time you hear financial planning advice, we want you to take a step back and think, does this apply to me as a federal employee? Your pension is no doubt one of your largest assets, and we know that a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 pension is like having $1 million in TSP, right? And you earn that through years of service times your high 3 times your 1 or 1.1% factor. If you were to retire and decline survivor benefits, how much would your spouse inherit from that pension? And the answer is goose egg, 0, nothing. So we know it's your biggest, maybe it's not your biggest, but it's one of your largest assets. It's $1 million asset or more for those of you watching this video. Why would we want that asset not to pass to our spouse? And the reason is we don't want that. But we get penny wise and pound foolish the closer we get to retirement. And let's face it, this is going to be the one time that you retire. It's going to be the one time, and it's scary. You've never turned on Social Security. You've never applied for Medicare. You've never gone through adjudication. And you look on your GRB platform and you see the cost for survivor benefits is 10%. You look at the tax withholding that may or may not be accurate. They're still withholding FEGLI Option B premiums or what have you. And you're like, how the heck am I going to live on this dollar amount? How am I going to do it? And the answer you come to, the conclusion you come to is, I can't retire on that number, but what I could do is if I didn't pay for survivor benefits, that extra $300 or $400 would really make a huge difference. Folks, if you can't retire and elect full survivor benefits, you're not ready to retire. It's that plain and simple. If you can't retire because of $300 a month, you should not be retiring. I know that's a bold statement, but that's what we believe at Mason & Associates. So survivor benefits says, at retirement, if my pension's $40,000, I have a choice to leave my spouse $20,000 at death. And for me to do that, that's 50%. It's a 10% cost. So on $40,000, that is $4,000 a year cost to provide my spouse survivor benefits. It seems like a lot, but it's not as much as you think. So number one, that is pre-tax. So it's not $4,000. If you decline survivor benefits and you say, give me that $4,000 as income, Uncle Sam and a lot of states are going to tax that income. So it's not $4,000 that you're paying into survivor benefits. It's $4,000 less the taxes that you would have paid otherwise. So let's say it's like $3,000 now that you're paying. For a cost of living adjusted $20,000 a year, you cannot replace this with life insurance more often than not. When you're retiring, you're older, you're 55, 60, 65 years old, maybe you're uninsurable. We are huge fans of electing full survivor benefits, and we believe that this is one of the biggest mistakes as you retire is getting penny wise and pound foolish and declining SVP at retirement. Folks, There's a military survivor benefit open season. We've talked about that. We've talked about the ability to reverse that decision. We've never seen an open season option for federal retirees to change their mind on SVP. I've never seen one in 13 years. I don't think one is coming. So this is your one time to get it right, and it's taking full survivor benefits into retirement. There's 3 options: no survivor benefits, 25%, or 50%. Now the cost for 25% is only 5%, but we're big fans of the full. We very rarely talk about that middle option. Why else do we decline survivor benefits other than just being penny wise and pound foolish? We think we don't need it. Well, folks, there are plenty of things out there that are just a good deal whether you need them or not, and this is one of them. It's a good deal. You should have it. You can afford it if you've been prepared and you're watching videos like this leading up to your retirement. But the other reason we decline it is we say, well, what happens if my spouse dies first? What happens if they die first? I don't want to keep paying this for the rest of time. Well, we've got news for you. If you take full survivor benefits from your first pension and your spouse dies first, you don't have to pay anymore. You instantly get grossed back up to the full amount, and you no longer have to pay for survivor benefits. Now, you're not refunded those back premiums, but you instantly don't have to stop paying, and your pension's popped back up to the full amount. This very rarely exists in the private sector. So we got that pop-up feature. It gets even better. Now, maybe we don't want to talk about this, but we're going to anyhow. What if your current spouse dies, then you stop paying for SVP, and 10 years from now, you find your second or third spouse, and you want to have survivor benefits to protect them? Well, because you took SVP the first time, you have the ability to elect SVP the second time or the third time as well. Folks, we know, you know, your federal employee pension is a large asset. If it was dollars, we would never let it go underinsured or uninsured. If you had $1 million in TSP and we let you know that at your death it was going to be 0, you would say that's a terrible idea. Well, that is the survivor benefit decision on your first pension. Don't leave it uninsured. Protect it for your spouse. If you can't retire with SVP, you can't retire at all, is our recommendation. And I'll leave you with this one closing thought. Folks, we know, we've seen it over 3 or 4 decades now, people decline survivor benefits, and oftentimes it goes something like this. I can't retire on reduced pay. I need that money now. Or I can't do this. I can't afford that. I need this money now. And one of our common responses has always been, if you can't do without $300 or $400 a month right now, how is your spouse going to do without $40,000 for the rest of their life, cost of living adjusted? If you can't do without a couple $100 now, how is this person going to do without 20, 30, 40, 50 grand for the rest of time? Please take survivor benefits, consider it in your financial plan, and if you're exploring replacing survivor benefits, make sure that you do it with an appropriate amount of life insurance, and make sure that you're working with a fiduciary that can show you the pros and cons of it. It's rare, we've seen it, but it's pretty rare that people actually replace SVP with adequate life insurance. Folks, this has been another episode of the Mason & Associates YouTube channel. Again, I'm John Mason. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Hit that bell notification, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video of Mason & Associates in our Federal Employee YouTube channel.